She actually spent a day in KC and then
Hey, at least you went to the source.
We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the July 23rd, 2018 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair this year of the Shawnee County Commission. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller. Good morning. Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we could begin with our first item.
Proclamations, presentations, number 1, Community Health Needs Assessment.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oakes from the Health Department. It is time once again to do our Community Health Needs Assessment. This is an assessment that we conduct every 3 years to see what folks think in our community about the health of our community and what we need to work on. So we use this to set our goals and objectives for the work for the next 3 years. So the purpose of the Community Health Needs Assessment, again, is to gather feedback from the community on what health topics are important to people in the community, to determine our top health priorities, the direction for the next Community Health Improvement Plan, and it is a requirement of nonprofit hospitals and public health departments to do this actually the hospitals have to do it every 3 years and we have to do it every 5 for our accreditation. So we know that collaboration is the best way to do things. So leading this effort for the Community Health Needs Assessment is Stormont Vale Health, and I'd like to introduce some folks that are here with us today from Stormont Vale so you'll know who's working on this. First we have Amy Kincaid. She is the Vice President for Population Health Management. We have Austin Jackson, who's the Director of Strategy and Business Development and Strategic Planning, and Annie Schilling, who's the Manager of Planning and Analytics. And then we have Craig Barnes, who's the Community Health Outreach and Planning Division Manager. He's also representing Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods as he is on that leadership team. So these 3 organizations are conducting this assessment. So how does it work? So today there will be 2 SurveyMonkey links available. We're going to get, there'll be a press release sent out very quickly here with these links. They will be on our website, on Stormont Vale's website, on Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods website. We will also get them out through social media. And this year, for the first time, we're doing a Spanish version as well as an English version. So we have both those available. We'll also have paper surveys in different areas around town, and we will get that information also out on social media. So this first phase of the Community Health Needs Assessment will close on August 31st. Then we will have neighborhood roundtable meetings, and the information from the assessments, from the surveys, will be collated, and then we will have discussion groups around that. And we will also be answering the question, which is required of us on accreditation, is what does health mean? What is the meaning of health? So the first meeting will be September 11th from 5:30 to 7. We're still working on that location, so we'll get that out as soon as we have it. September 13th from 11:30 to 1 at the Silver Lake United Methodist Church, and September 13th from 5:30 to 7 at the Oakland Community Center. There will be light refreshments served at each of these. And leading these discussions will be Vince Vandahar. He is with VVV Consultants, and he is their agency has been hired by Stormont Vale to lead this effort and to write the assessment. And then on September 27th from 11:30 to 1, we will have our stakeholder town hall meeting. And so this meeting is open to everyone. Anyone who missed the town halls who wants to come to this one, we hope that everyone who came to our discussion in April about the county health rankings will attend this meeting, and we will have more small group discussions about the priorities that need to be set. And that is going to be held at the Shawnee County Health Department. So, your community needs you. This is an important time for us to get this information about health in Topeka and Shawnee County. So I hope that everyone goes out, takes the survey, as many people as possible come to participate in the town hall meetings and help us decide what direction we're going to go in the next 3 years as far as health in Topeka and Shawnee County. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you have any questions for any of our guests today.
First, I want to thank the hospital representatives to be here. Thank you for everything that you do in helping make our community a bit healthier. Linda, if you might, just talk to us. Every 3 years we do the Community Health Needs Assessment. What are some of the things that came out of the last health needs assessment, some of the programs that were implemented as a result? How does it impact us on a daily basis?
Okay, a couple of important things that came out of that last assessment. One is the Healthy Babies Work Group. So that group works to help lower our infant mortality rate and also help get kids the best start they can. And so that group has worked very hard in conjunction with the Fetal Infant Mortality Review Program to look at reasons that we are having fetal deaths and what we can do about them. So one of the activities we have had a couple of times is a safe sleep baby shower. And so at that point, expectant parents were given a pack and play, which is considered a safe sleep device. They were told how to put their baby down, how to have their baby sleep safely, so we can prevent deaths from unsafe sleeping. The other thing that has happened since the last was the food assessment that we did for the county, and so we looked at that whole assessment looked at fresh fruits and vegetables, how much is grown, what's the availability, and so there is a farm and food task force that's been formed and is working on that. I feel like access to fresh fruits and vegetables is a very important topic for our community, especially in some parts of town. So those are two efforts that have been great. Craig, do you want to add anything to that?
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you.
Commissioners, questions? Commissioner Archer?
How long does it take to take the survey?
About 10 or 15 minutes,
Okay.
usually under 10.
All right. I think it's important that people know that.
Yes.
How are we going to publicize the survey other than,
It's going to be out in the media,
okay,
on our webpage, social media. So we'll have different web pages. So Stormontvale, we'll put it on theirs, we'll put it on ours, Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods. We'll probably boost some Facebook posts to get it out farther. So it'll be available. You can just click on the link and go take it.
can we validate it statistically, or are we just,
It is not that kind. It's more of a what do you think is important kind of survey.
Okay.
It's what are your topics. I believe the consultant will also look at some of the data that was in the county health rankings and some of the data that's in the BRFIS, which is the KDHE data that they put out every year. So there will be some data that is verified. But this is just more, what do you think we should be doing?
oh, okay. Very
And what do
good.
you think is important?
Very good. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
And I would just add, because the county health rankings get a lot of attention, and so the difference between that and this is just what you said. It's what do we think at the local level is important about health.
Right.
So they work together,
Yes.
right?
Right. And, we can create programs and what we think should be done and do all this, but it's really more important what people in the community think needs to be done. We want to know what you all think is the priority for health in Topeka and Shawnee County.
Thank you very much.
The only
Thank
thing, Linda, if you could just say what happens after you gather that information.
Sure. So, thank you. After we gather the information, we hope it's going to be published around the same time as the county health rankings, and we can discuss it at our community conversation the first Monday in April. More about that to come. And so then there will be a community health improvement plan written with the help, again, of all the partners. Mostly Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods does a lot of that writing. That is our grassroots health organization. Anyone is welcome to join that. There's a lot of different work groups. If you're interested, see myself or Craig, and we'll get you started.
Thanks for adding that. I think it's important that this isn't just our first time doing this.
Right.
We do this every 3 or 5 years, depending on which, entity you are. But we are in a process of refining what we're
Yes.
doing. So that's important.
Yes, we get better each time.
We do. It's good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 2 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
The vouchers are totaling $484,867.08. We have the largest amount of that is with Health Insurance Administration, $143,769.04, and that's mostly with MedTrack and with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Second is $98,801.57 for the detention facility, and most of that amount is with Aramark. our food service. Third, District Court, $73,537.47. And if there are no questions, I will move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, there are no correction orders. Item B, planning. Number 1, public hearing and consider approval of the vacation of plat for Bender subdivision, an undeveloped 134-acre, 25-lot residential subdivision located about the southwest corner of Southeast 37th Street and Southeast Woodring Road in Tecumseh Township, restoring the property to agricultural use.
Barry Beagles, Shawnee County Planning Department. Chris just summed it up very well right there. Public entities have been informed of the requested vacation. This is for, as indicated, a 134-acre subdivision of 25 residential lots. The new owners of the property have no interest in developing the property as a residential subdivision. Property has remained undeveloped since it was platted back in 2001 and 2003, and therefore the new owners just wish to restore the property to its former state for agricultural use. So it's recommended for approval.
We'll begin by a motion to open a public hearing on the request to vacate. I'll make a
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook to open the public hearing, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Barry, I do have a couple of questions for you. On the 134-acre plot, is there any taxing implication upon the owner that they would be taxed at a higher amount than if it is vacated?
Quite honestly, I cannot address that question. I would assume that is probably appraised based upon its potential residential value and for development. So if we get rid of the plat and restore it back to agricultural land use, I would have assumed that its appraisal would be adjusted accordingly.
How is it currently appraised? Is it currently appraised as agricultural, or
That much I cannot address.
maybe have the counselor?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Counselor. I don't know the specifics of this, but I would presume that it would be appraised as agricultural if it's being used as agricultural. It's the fact that the plat's in existence really will have no effect on what it's being appraised. It'll be the present use as of January 1st each year, and since it's been continuously used as agricultural, and sounds like they want to remain that way, that's the way it'll stay.
Well, maybe you can help. Are they taxed differently as agricultural than it would be if it's vacated?
Will
Will
this action change the way
Yes.
they're taxed? No. What would change the way they were taxed is if this were actually developed into residential lots and it became used as residential property.
So what benefit is there to the landowner in vacating the subdivision?
I don't know.
And given our current comprehensive plan, they would not have, if a comprehensive plan is adopted as outlined by the planning department, they wouldn't be able to put it back in this subdivision without a lot of regulations, would they?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into the question that you have to say, but assuming the comprehensive plan went in place and assuming this was not in a urban growth area location, then yes, it would have to remain under the existing comprehensive plan proposal as agricultural property.
Perhaps maybe you might, to what benefit does the landowner have in vacating the subdivision?
I don't know.
I'll be happy to address.
All right, if you could.
As currently platted, the property has platted easements, platted street rights-of-way, and those have to be honored and observed, even though the streets or the easements are not currently improved. And so it would prevent them from building agricultural structures or making any other type of improvements to the property. So in that particular case, the property owner, the new property owner of the property, which is far removed from the one who had it subdivided, says, we have no interest in considering residential development. We'd just soon get rid of it, have no encumbrances on the property that would prevent any future improvement of the property for agricultural use.
how did this come to be at your office?
Because they came into our office to talk about building a structure and erecting fencing, and then that's what got into the conversation. Well, it's currently platted, and that's how we have to honor the plat since it's currently of record against the property. And they acknowledged that and said, but we have no interest in developing the property for residential purposes, and that's what led to the discussion of vacation.
During that discussion, was there discussion of being able to build what they're wanting to do in the fencing and not have any issues with the easements?
I guess I'm not following the question.
Well, I mean, did you discuss with them that perhaps they could build the structures they're wanting to, and we wouldn't have to vacate the subdivision?
Well, again, that was their wish. As a result of our discussion, it was their wish to go ahead and remove any encumbrance because they did not want to leave a vestige of the property being residential, that they just soon get rid of it, have it considered a 134-acre agricultural tract of land as it was originally before it was platted and recorded in 2003.
Commissioners, questions?
No.
Perry, this is not within the 3-mile area?
It is not.
in
It's
the
on the
city of
Douglas
Topeka?
County line.
Okay, thank you. But what if it were just a question as far as vacating that plat? Would the city have to review that
The city would
as
have to be
well?
involved if it was within the 3-mile area.
But it is not? Okay.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you. And I guess the city would have to review that because that's currently how the process is in place,
Well, no,
barring that we
that's
do
how
not...
the statute reads.
Yeah, and we do not have a comprehensive plan currently, but there still is that 3-mile area
Correct.
by which we have to go by those
And since the city of
regulations,
Topeka
correct.
exercises extraterritorial jurisdiction for subdivision authority, they also have authority to vacate anything that's currently platted within that 3-mile area. So any request that is processed through my office, well, a property owner has two options. They could either process it through the city of Topeka, seeking a vacation, or they could process it through my office. But if they process it through my office pursuant to statute, we would have to refer it to the city first. The city would have to concur with that before then it's scheduled for public hearing before the county commission.
And again, that's, right now, that's what we currently have is
Yep.
that 3-mile area.
Yes.
Even though we don't have a comprehensive plan.
Right.
Okay.
Did your office advise the applicant that if this is vacated, and if the comprehensive plan is put in place as outlined, they will have a much more difficult time putting back into place this subdivision?
This conversation started a year ago. So it was before any framework was set up with regard to the comprehensive plan. So it's been for some time that they've started this process. It took an inordinate amount of time for them to secure from all the utility companies, all the letters that are required pursuant to our vacation procedure to get all the authorizations back saying, yes, we don't have any issues with this. And so basically, we're a year from when this whole thing got started initially.
But I go back to, did you advise them that if it's vacated, it will be very difficult to put this subdivision back into place?
No, because at that time, it was before we had any idea of what the land use foundations of the comprehensive plan might be.
I guess I have some real concerns about what may be the outcome of this, and making sure that the the landowner understands that somebody doesn't come back a year from now or 5 years from now and saying, I was given bad advice by the planning department.
Well, again, all I can do is go based upon the information that they have provided me, that they have no interest in developing the property for residential purposes, and therefore they don't want to have any of the encumbrances of the plat whatsoever. They just want to have it restored for agricultural purposes.
Commissioner?
That's
I think it's a tax advantage issue for the landowner. Would it be helpful if we deferred for a week and we actually had the landowner come to demonstrate knowledge of this? I know that a lot of times people go outside of the county and they really don't know what they're getting into and they don't know what to expect. So I think it may be good to defer this and then actually speak to the landowner.
I would feel much more comfortable if the landowner was here and able to be present. Again, I just want to make sure we've dotted all our i's and crossed all our t's in an abundance of caution to the landowner that we don't vacate the subdivision to the harm of the landowner future.
Just so that you are aware, the landowner did receive the agenda packet and was aware that this was on. This was originally scheduled to appear before you on June 25th, and then that meeting was canceled, so we had to republish for this meeting. I don't know if he had any scheduling conflicts for today, but otherwise they were aware of this meeting today.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and defer action for 1 week. And ask that the homeowner, or the property owner, come if available to discuss this and make sure there's a clear understanding of the implications of this move.
That would be a second. Commissioner Bueller, any?
No, I mean, I don't know if his schedule allows him to attend, but even something in writing that he's been noticed that, that I think that might be an alternative if he cannot attend the meeting.
I would agree with that as well. Motion made then to defer this until July the 30th by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C, Sheriff's, number 1. Consider approval of request to award bid to Linco Industries for the purchase of an armored rescue vehicle at a cost of $311,826 using $100,000 of capital outlay funds approved on December 11th, 2017, and the remaining balance to be paid using federal forfeiture funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Major Jason Mecca, Sheriff's Office. The armored rescue vehicle has been in discussion with our agency for actually a couple years now. I would like to thank 3 of our leadership for our SWAT team that are in attendance today for getting this project forward. That's Captain Tom Bronaugh, Sergeant Kylie Rice, and Corporal Steve Evans. The Linco Industry Bearcat is the leader among all law enforcement agencies in the United States. In fact, the Kansas Highway Patrol has 3 of these vehicles. They've purchased those over the course of the last 2 years, and the Kansas Bureau of Investigation also has a Linco Bearcat. We were requesting that Linco Industries be awarded this bid based on 3 main criteria. Number 1, this vehicle will be built on a 2019 chassis, whereas the other competitors would be a 2017 chassis. The blanket or the umbrella policy for insurance far exceeds what the others can provide. It is an $11 million policy. And then lastly, some of the features that this vehicle has cannot be matched by the others as well. That's why the Linco is our choice and the one that we would prefer that you would approve. These vehicles are built to last. The life expectancy of this particular armored rescue vehicle could be between 20 and 30 years. It's not just used in SWAT situations. I know we got the SWAT leadership here. They're the ones that put it together because more times than not, it is used in a rescue situation for a hostage, barricaded subject, high-risk warrants, active shooter, those type of scenarios. But the vehicle that we are purchasing, or like to purchase, is on a 4x4 chassis, and it is designed to go off-road. So response in rural areas is something that we cannot do at this point. The City of Topeka and Shawnee County Sheriff's Office share an armored group bat right now. That vehicle is approximately 10 years old, but it is not a 4x4, and in fact, when you drive it on a soft surface, it sinks. It's so heavy. The vehicle we want to buy will be able to go in places that one cannot go. Furthermore, there have been instances in the past where the Topeka Police Department has been called to a situation in which more than one armored vehicle is needed. They have had to go outside Shawnee County to get services, such as Lawrence or KHP, who do not stage their vehicles here in Topeka. This would provide added value in insurance to the citizens within Shawnee County, the City of Topeka, having a backup of sorts. To be used whenever we need to. So with that consideration, I'll open it up to any questions that you may have.
This was first brought to us during the capital outlay discussions in December of 2017, and there was a request for, I believe, $100,000 that was approved. That request has not changed. It's the same $100,000 with the remainder to be made up from federal forfeiture funds. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, Commissioner.
So regardless of which bid is awarded, the ask of the county commission is still the $100,000. That has not increased.
Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the commissioners for that generosity. And as you said, this is at no expense to the taxpayer. This is asset forfeiture that will fund this vehicle. This vehicle is a little bit larger than the one we have now. If there was a situation where we had to evacuate a school, or in the event of a flood or tornado response, you could get anywhere from 18 to 25 citizens in the back of that vehicle. Of course, if it's a school, they're smaller people, so we could get more of those kids inside that vehicle if we needed to.
Let's hope that's never the case.
Yeah.
That's right.
Commissioners, questions?
Well, just to clarify the record, there is taxpayer money involved. It's $100,000 from our capital improvement plan. So, I mean, it's not all forfeiture money.
Right.
Okay, just to make sure. Jay, could you give me some historic examples of when this armored vehicle would have been used, and what were the outcomes because we didn't have it?
Okay, I might defer to, in fact, just last year.
Okay.
I was gone on a military deployment, I wasn't here, but there was a situation that arose in the city of Topeka. It was a standoff southeast. There were homicides committed, and they had to reach out to an adjacent agency. So you have response time. It was dangerously cold outside, where we could have reduced that response time down to under an hour compared to hours, if you will. Rossville has flooded in the past. There have been instances where the first responders, the fire trucks do have four-wheel drive capabilities, and they can get out to some of those things. But we have never had that capability at the sheriff's office. We are a first responder ourselves. And to be able to go to a rural area and save someone's life, I know that's extreme, or just get them out of danger, we want to be able to do that. And with this, we can do that. So I would say the past floodings that have occurred, there have been a few instances in the city of Topeka where their SWAT team was used, and we could have augmented their force with this vehicle. And then hopefully we don't have to use them in a tornado response, but it would be available. We don't have it now, but if we did, we could use it.
So, in your opinion, this is mission critical, not just a nice-to-have item. Is that correct?
Yes, this is not a want, this is a need.
Okay.
This is a need for Shawnee County.
That's what I needed to hear. I'll make a motion to approve.
Before I second, just a question that is asked is why aren't we entering into an agreement with U.S. military to acquire maybe a used piece of machinery and then have it at our disposal? I know, thank you for your service to the country and your deployment, but in having some firsthand experience with some of the equipment, why not just get a piece of used military equipment? What are some of the disadvantages to that?
I'm going to have to defer to Corporal Evans. He has done most of the research with this, and he has been on the SWAT team for the better part of 18, almost 20 years. So, go ahead, Steve.
Good morning, Commissioners. Corporal Evans. With the military equipment, you're getting something that's made for the military, so you're going to have to make quite a few adjustments for it to come over to the law enforcement side. You're also, one of the other things, you have to be responsible for the maintenance. The maintenance would be very difficult. You'd have to find some people that have been in the military or try to retired guys or somebody else to come in. The other part is just so big. You really have to look at some of the roads, the bridges in the county, whether or not you could take that across that. Just getting it from point A to point B is logistically an issue. But one of the biggest things is the government can also then in turn say, hey, we're going to stop this program. You need to turn it back in. And when you do, you have to return it back to the way it was when you got it. And that can be extremely expensive.
So if we received a piece of government equipment, it's something not designed for what you're wanting to use it for, so you're having to take something that was designed for one thing and make it into another thing, which would increase our costs.
Yeah, it increased your cost, and that's one thing we look for when we put this out. Like I said, it's a 2-year thing, it's a need. You look at it, and we looked at all the vehicles, went and talked to them, talked to the builders, and it was specifically, it's a specialty equipment for law enforcement. They in turn make them for the military, but then you'll see the differences in the two type of vehicles.
I would just add, all emergencies are local first, and so you all responding with this pieces of equipment is important. I mean, we don't call in the National Guard. That's only after we've exhausted all our resources, and then the governor has that ability, I believe. And Dusty's probably watching and will correct me, but he watches on the camera most of the time. But I think having this as a resource for the sheriff's office is very important. You wouldn't bring it to us otherwise if it wasn't important, so.
No, we wouldn't, and there has been a need for it. Major Semeka talked about Southeast 7th Street. We were called early in the morning, but we were going to supplement manpower. We couldn't come out earlier in the night due to not having a vehicle, so that's why they reached out to Lawrence. There's been other instances where we've done joint search warrants for violent crimes in the city of Topeka, and they've had use of the vehicle, but we haven't. And then the other is the South Topeka. If you remember the South Topeka across street from Bozarth, where they had the wanted felon with the extremely violent armed robberies and everything, and that shooting of an officer is injured. That vehicle was put into place almost immediately, but there was no other vehicle to start rescuing the people on the other end of the hotel to get them out while he was still shooting and then starting it on fire.
And Commissioner Archer, you made the motion.
Yes.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-229, 2018, Memorandum of Understanding with Harvesters Community Food Network for the Kids Cafe Program at Oakland Community Center from August 14th, 2018 through May 23rd, 2019.
Good morning, Commissioner. Susan Fowler, Hensler Parks and Recreation. The MOU before you today would be the second year that we would continue this partnership with Harvesters. Not only is it offering much-needed meals after school for youth in Shawnee County, but it also gives Parks and Recreation an opportunity to do some activities with the kids that come into the community centers. It was a pilot program last year at 3 of our locations. Oakland Community Center is the only site that we're going to renew. We had during the school year of 2017-2018, 1,054 meals served at Oakland Community Center. The other 2 centers just saw very low numbers, and so we are not renewing the MOU for those 2 centers. The Rice Center, which had very low numbers to it, maybe focuses more on the seniors that use that center. Shawnee County partners with East Topeka Senior Citizens, and they have served 2,653 meals in the year of 2017. So it was just a difference between the ages using those services. At Crestview, the numbers were pretty low. We found that most of the kids eating the meals there kind of was by chance. They came in to use the after-school program, use the open gym, and that's why they stayed to eat. The need may not be as much in that neighborhood, or there are also there's several churches that offer the same type of programming. So we ask that we can continue the memo of understanding with Harvesters for the Oakland Community Center and continue to serve the youth after school there. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Susan? Motion?
Well,
Commissioner
yeah,
Archer?
I'll move to approve it. I think it's helpful that you're keeping metrics so we can concentrate on areas that are most needy, and so I appreciate that. And I'll move to approve the contract.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All Opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Health Department, number 1, consider approval of request to solicit proposals for a qualified lab director consulting service as required by the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendment Regulations with funding from tax allocation and program fees.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. We are required by these federal regulations to have a Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendment Director, or CLIA. And this person, we've done it by contract for several years because we don't do a whole lot of lab tests, but we do some basic lab testing in our sexually transmitted infection clinic. So this person would review our records, watch the maintenance records for the equipment, monitor proficiency testing of our staff, and training the staff. So be happy to answer any questions. We would ask permission to release this RFP.
Any questions? I'll move them for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item F, Counselor, number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-230-2018 with Thomas McGee LC as a third-party administrator for worker compensation claims for Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Crow, Shawnee County Counselor. Yeah, this request is to enter into the final year of a 4-year contract cycle that we have with Thomas McGee to administer our workers' compensation claims. We last went to RFP in 2015, so this would be the final year of that. At the end of this, during this contract year, we would put together a selection committee and enter into a new RFP to continue these services. Thomas McGee does a good job for us, and I recommend approval of the extension at this time. Ed Reasoner with Thomas McGee is here to answer any questions you might have about the contract or the process.
Any questions regarding the contract with Thomas McGee?
Move to approve.
A second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to appoint Ashley Biegert, Assistant County Counselor, to serve as the County Commission's designee on the Administrative Review Committee.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pursuant to state law, we have a home rule resolution that sets forth our process for receiving and approving economic development tax exemption requests. And part of our process includes having an internal administrative review committee that consists of county staff along with representatives from the city of Topeka and any affected school district for reviewing proposed property tax exemptions. Pursuant to that resolution, the Board of County Commissioners has a designee on that committee. I have been the designee on the committee since 2008, I believe. The county councilor is also on the committee, so this is the first one that has come through since I've been county councilor. We need to appoint someone else to the committee. Ashley Biegert in my office has a lot of experience dealing with BOTA and dealing with property tax issues, so I would recommend her as the county's designee on this committee. I'll continue to serve as chair for a few more of these, and then I would recommend that per the resolution, she would take over as chair.
Any questions regarding the appointment?
No, I have none. I'll move approval of the request.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any item. No takers. Commissioner Bueller, anything for today?
I do not. Thank you.
Commissioner Archer, anything for today?
No, I'm just fired up about the next budget hearings.
Contain your excitement.
I will.
This is the Fair Week at the Shawnee County Fair at the Expo Center, so good luck to all the 4-Hers that are finishing up their projects, making sure they have everything ready to turn in. The majority of the judging does occur on Thursday, and so I would ask that everybody take an opportunity this weekend, Friday, Saturday, to come out to the fair and see all that it has. I'm sure that the Treasurer and Register of Deeds will be doing the Celebrity Swine competition again. I think there's a competitive nature and see who can win this year, although I think the sheriff beats them every year.
I just thought of something, Commissioners. Tom Lock, Public Works and Solid Waste. With that windstorm we had last week, there's probably quite a bit of tree and limb damage. I just wanted to let folks know, if they are a customer of ours, Shawnee County Solid Waste has a policy that branches and limbs need to be put in lengths of no longer than 4 feet long and tied up. If they're just left loose on the ground, we do not have the time or ability to pick them up individually. So if they could help us out in that respect. 4 feet long and tied up and bound. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Anything else? Seeing nothing. Our next item.
Executive sessions.
There is not a need for an executive session. We are adjourned until 10 o'clock, where we'll hold a budget hearing for the court administration, court services, clerk of the court, and drug court.